Hi everybody, welcome back for our next video. I'm just going to give Lily her tablets quickly, Jimmy a little treat. So today's video we are going to briefly go through my grooming kit bag. So I know some of you have attended club with us before, so some of you have got your own grooming kits, and as I promised, I want some of these videos to be a little bit more educational and obviously give those of you that haven't been to club a little bit of an idea of the sort of stuff that we're going to be learning. So this one is a rough example of a normal grooming bag that we have. So on the top we've got a riding hat. This is actually Aaron, my son's riding hat, obviously hence the LFC logo on there. A hat is always handy to have in your grooming bag, just in case you do have one of the ponies or horses that's a little bit more sensitive, or obviously if you're grooming an unfamiliar horse, we recommend that you pop a hat on. Inside the bag, and don't judge me on the cleanliness down here, so we're going to pull these things out randomly. Occasionally some of our girls keep their treats in their grooming bags, so you might find that the ponies start rummaging through here a little bit. So what have we got? First up, so baby talc I've got in my grooming bag. This is a little bit more of a hack. So my farrier highly recommends baby talc or baby powder for the horses' hooves if they've got slightly wet hooves where they can be quite prone to thrush, which is a bit of a fungal thing in their hooves. So we pop a little bit of baby talc, baby powder in their hooves to try and dry them out. There's lots of lotions and potions available, but we find that works really well. What have we got next? This one. So I'm just going to go through the names of the brushes with you today, and then we can work no don't do that, Lily. And then we can work on how we use the brushes maybe tomorrow. So this one, a long shape, firm bristles. This is our dandy brush, so used for getting off stiffer stains off, bit of mud, not for use on any sensitive areas because the bristles are so firm. What else have we got? What have you found, Lily? What have we found? Another lotion. Okay, another little hack, little cheat, our mane and tail spray. Obviously that just gets any of the little tangles out of the manes and tails. To go with that, we've got our comb. Now we try and be quite strict that the combs are just for manes and forelocks, forelock being fringe. We try not to use combs and hairbrushes on tails if we can help it, because it does tend to pull the hair through, and actually the horses' tails are quite precious. They can get thin very quickly. So what we try and do is just use the body brush or our fingers for doing our tails. So last potion, bit of farrier solution. This one is a bit more to nourish the hooves. Obviously in this dry weather we do sometimes find that the horses' hooves get a little bit dry, they start to crack. Oh, are we boring you, Jimmy? Lily's going to come and itch her bottom on me now. So yeah, farrier solution I find works quite nicely. You can paint it inside, but yeah, on the outside it does give a little bit of a sheen and does help to nourish the hooves. Yes. So then we've got our body brush. Body brushes are usually in an oval shape like this one, often have a handle on the back, and they've got much softer bristles. So because of their softer bristles, they can be used all over the horse, on their manes and their tails, their face, down their legs. So much softer to use all over. We try and avoid the body brush using so much in the winter, but in the summer, and especially with Lily, where she does suffer a little bit with some dandruff, she does quite like to have her body brush, don't you? Hey, getting mobbed here now. I'm gonna go back a little bit. Good girl. Okay, so what else have we got in here? So just in this particular one, I do have, it looks like a body brush, but this is actually really soft, I think they're often known as like goat's hair brushes. This is mainly for my horse Benny, who is a little bit more sensitive, so believe it or not, he finds the firmer brushes too much for him, and he really likes these much softer bristled brushes. So it looks like a body brush, and it pretty much is like a body brush, but the bristles are very soft. Then we've got this one. This is our sweat scraper. Sweat scraper, Jimmy? So sweat scrapers generally used just after the horse has had a bath, a bit like a window squeegee. So you're going to use your rubber part to just run down the horse's body and to just help to get all the excess water off of them if they've had a bath. There is no need for this to be used on the horses if they are dry. Then could do with a clean, my grooming kit. So then we've got this little one. Again, often there's two this sort of shape. One has really hard bristles, and that will be your hoof brush. This one has really soft bristles, so this is your face brush. And so we're just thinking of using this on the horse's face. Obviously always using the brushes in the direction that the hair is going, and this often does just put them to sleep a little bit when we're using those on their face. They're more sensitive areas, isn't it? Is that nice? Is that nice? And so the dreaded hairbrush. So the hairbrush, most grooming kits now come with one of these. We do, as I said earlier, same as the combs, we try to avoid using these on the horses' tails. We don't mind them on the horses' forelocks and their manes, but we do try and encourage children and adults that are grooming with us to not pull out too much hair, to be a bit more gentle. Hello. Hello. You funny thing. Thank you, Jimmy. And so last in my grooming kit is the hoof pick. So the hoof pick is for, where have we got them? Our hoofs. Inside the horse's hoof, it is a little bit more, it's almost slightly hollow. So you can end up with a mud build up, and obviously then stones, anything sharp, and unfortunately things like their droppings might get stuck in there. You're being very kissy today. Very kissy today. So our hoof pick is going to be vital. We try and keep these hung up around the yard. They are a vital piece of kit. You might find that you don't see them all the time in our yard grooming kits, because in the yard grooming kits we do find then we are asked all the time if people can pick out the horse's feet, and believe it or not, it isn't the easiest thing to do. So the horse has to stay balanced and on three legs whilst you pick their foot out. Obviously we do have a little issue if people aren't quite strong enough or they're not used to doing it, and so the foot is picked up, little bit picked out, dropped again, foot's picked up. So we do try and get people to practice without necessarily, look at these two, so cute, without necessarily actually picking the hoof up, because you have to be careful with the frog, which is the little triangle bit in the middle of the horse's hoof underneath, a very sensitive area. So that's my grooming kit. Obviously I've given you a little bit of an insight. I'm going to try and come back on tomorrow and we'll do a few demonstrations as to how those brushes are used. But as a basic grooming kit, hey, we haven't got any treats in ours, have we? Which is rubbish. You're going to help me put them away. So yeah, as a basic grooming kit, that is what we have. So we try and keep our kit clean. We try and obviously limit the horses that we're using the kits on. So if we're worried about anybody any new horses that come into the yard, then they are always kept with their own grooming kit, and then that would be disinfected as we go. So that's our introduction to our grooming kit, isn't it, Lily? Hey? Can you say hello to everybody? And so while we're grooming, obviously you're checking your pony. We done daily checks yesterday, so I would expect that anybody grooming a pony is also using their hands to feel what's going on, to feel for any lumps and bumps that they might have. They might have some swellings, they might have fly bites. But it's also a nice way to just bond with your horse, to make sure that they are getting used to having your hands on their body. See Lily's little heart on her bottom. So yes, grooming, very important. Taking your time, bonding with your pony, and obviously just lowering your heart rate and relaxing and enjoying their company. So I hope that gave you a good insight into your grooming kit, and we'll see you again tomorrow with a few demonstrations. Take care everyone, bye.